Hello, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, my name is Andy. I'm a philosophy lecturer, and together we explore philosophical ideas and how they apply to everyday life. One of my favorite thinkers in terms of applying ideas to life has always been Erich Fromm. Erich Fromm is a German psychoanalyst, philosopher, and writer who lived from the 1920s, 30s, and he died in 1980. And all this time, for about 30 years, he was immensely popular. He was very famous, and people were reading his books like crazy, buying his books. Today he's largely forgotten, like many people who were big phenomena, in their time. Alan Watts, there are many of those who at one time they were producing one bestseller after the other and then have been forgotten for one reason or another. But I think what Fromm said is still very important today. And it is very inspirational. It gives us lots of ideas of what is going wrong with our lives and how we can fix it. Fromm was a psychoanalyst, so he was a doctor. And one of his ways of diagnosing what goes wrong and why we are unhappy is by psychoanalyzing society. He treats society as a patient, and he goes and says, okay, let's look, how is society going wrong? What are the problems that it has? And one of his most approachable books is called Escape from Freedom. This is a book where he talks about how we escape from freedom, which sounds a little paradoxical because we always think that freedom is a good thing, so why would we want to escape from it? Isn't freedom, what everybody wants? You live in a country that doesn't have freedom, then you want freedom, you fight for your freedom. But Fromm says real freedom is very difficult to handle because freedom is scary for us. And the best experience of this is with children. When children are small, they don't have any freedom. They're just embedded into their household and they do what their mother tells them. And they get something in return. What do they get in return? They get the freedom to play without responsibility. They get the freedom to do what they want within the limits put by their parents. But within these limits, they are not going to be blamed for what they do. They don't have any problems surviving. They don't have any problems, earning their money. So all these are worries that a child does not have. And so the life of a child is very protected in this way. And then suddenly the child grows up, and I see it with my own children now. They're 10, 12, 14. And at this age is this transition to being an adult. And slowly the children become more responsible for their lives, for what they're doing, for their homework, for their friends, and how their friends behave, how they behave towards their friends. And what you see there is the first reaction is fear. Suddenly I am responsible for what I'm doing. Suddenly I have to do my homework, and it's not my mother giving it to me anymore or pushing me to do it. Now I am responsible. I am responsible for my grades. I am responsible for getting to university. I am responsible for whatever I do later. And what if this doesn't work out? What if I make mistakes? There is the fear, right? And the same is true of many other situations, even as we are adults. When I am, working in a regular job, in a job that perhaps is not very difficult, some office work that I'm doing every day, or some work on a building site, let's say I'm a worker and I'm doing the same thing every day, mixing the cement or whatever it is. As long as it's work like this, I feel protected by this routine and by the society that it keeps me doing what I'm doing, and like a parent shields me from responsibility because I'm just following what everybody else is doing every day. When I try to be more creative, like we said in yesterday's video, when I try to be more creative, when I try to step out of this boring every day and really get satisfaction in my life, then suddenly I realize that I am now responsible for what I'm doing. I'm doing something different. So society is not going to rush to protect me. Society is going to blame me if something goes wrong. And this is where Fromm says we realize that on the one hand, we want the freedom because only there can we find satisfaction. On the other hand, we experience this freedom as threatening. It is something that we are afraid of, because when we are free, then we are responsible and alone, and there is nobody to guide us. And as a reaction to this, we try to escape from the freedom. And there are various mechanisms which we will discuss in the following few days, how we try to escape the freedom and actually again return to a situation where we are not responsible, where we can push off their responsibility to somebody else. So perhaps today, if you like, you can think about your life or the lives of others in your environment and try to see where they are pushing away this responsibility, where they are not accepting it. And in this sense, refusing to become fully adults, refusing to become fully grown up. And everybody is doing it. I'm doing it too. When I, do my classes in the same way, like my university wants me to teach them, following my syllabus, doing exactly what everybody else does. This is a way of giving away this responsibility of saying, even if my teaching is not the best it could be or the most original, it's okay with me because I'm not responsible. If somebody wants to blame me for my teaching, I can always point to the syllabus and say, these people are responsible, not me. But in the end, this is something that makes me unhappy too. So try to see if there are points like this where you're avoiding this responsibility, and then try to think, is it something that actually makes you unhappy, or is it something that provides comfort and safety? And if it does this, and if this is more important, then it's fine. But if you feel that this is keeping you back, holding you back from having the life that you want or being the person that you want, then come back tomorrow where we will discuss more about Fromm's ideas. Thank you, and see you next time.